Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We get a list of 14 properties, and it's funny because some of today's owners have looked at the comparables and some haven't. And so I think it's always important as a seller to look and say, what are the buyer's other options besides my house? And I think if you can come from that perspective, you're going to be successful. Now, we also have one of the most unique properties I think I've seen in all of Milton. So we're going to start off with this property at Bristol on Main. Nice, easy location of the highway. Priced at $299, 1,000 square feet. I think it's 1,002. Nice finishes. Kitchen has the appliances. It has the dark cabinets, dark floors, and compares pretty well. The comparison on this one is that there was a home that's not nearly as well staged, not as upgraded, priced in the mid 280s, just got an offer on it after maybe a week or so. And so these guys are up at $299, and then there's the same model that's actually up a little higher in the threes, completely different price bracket that doesn't seem to be doing anything. So at $299, certainly they're not that far off. We've got Ferguson here at $315. Price point is going to attract a lot of attention right now. It's the game at around under $320 is this one plus Fowles. This one has a small about $50 fee attached to it. Technically, it's a freehold home, but it's called a POTL, which is a parcel of tied land. And what that means is that they pay an extra amount for garbage and snow removal. From a carrying cost perspective, it would be like buying this home for maybe $5,000 or $10,000 more when you look at how that affects your payments. I would take Fowles over this one, but I think that both of them are in a bracket that's going to attract a lot of attention. This one on Suitor is actually the same model as the one on Fowles. It has more upgraded floors. The appliances aren't as good. They have some nice views, but Fowles even has the tennis courts down at the end of the street, plus you get good escarpment views. I just think for $20,000 more, it makes absolutely zero sense how anybody would jump on something like this before the Fowles one. What they have going for them is the fact that there's not a lot of competition. So Bundy is $364.9, and it's Brennan model, so it's got one full bathroom upstairs. There's actually one that I think listed up in the 380s recently. This is a good price for this home. You got to be careful of the roof and furnace because it's getting around 12 years old. But it's a good location, very easy access to the highway. You're right by Trudeau and Derry, and there's no pictures yet, but I know the owner because I had clients who bought one of his previous homes, and he tends to take pretty good care of his stuff. So this home, I bet, is probably a good-looking house, and $364.9 to me seems like an ideal price. Now we've got Frank Place here. So another 3-story with a garage versus the previous one on Bundy actually has a backyard, and it's a 2-story version. So this one here, I think a perfect price point. It's right across from a park. You've got a little main floor office here, and then you get up to the second floor, and you've got your kitchen plus a family room plus the dining. I think the angles on the photos perfectly tell the story of this home. You can see the counters plus the backsplash. And it faces the park. There is train tracks over here. Now there's another model that listed for a lot higher than this one, $373. Well, not a lot higher, $5,000 more, but this one absolutely crushes that one. It's only the 2-bedroom versus the other one that's 3, but you've got the 2 full washrooms upstairs too. And I think this is an absolute golden winner. It's very comparable to some of the other stuff that's sold, funny enough, on Fowles up in the 470s. So Gollins, $385. Not a particularly large home. You do have 2 full bathrooms upstairs, but your kitchen is very, very small. Got some upgraded flooring here. I would take the one on Bundy for $20,000 less. I'd just be careful to make sure I didn't need to put a roof and furnace in, because that's not something you want to write a check for in your first year of living anywhere. Ferguson looks like a real winner too. It's a Lake Point model, about 1,380 square feet, plus a finished basement, $419. The exact same model sold on the street for around this price, and I think this is a better looking home. This room here, the builder had intended it to have a dining room here and then a family room here. They flipped it around. And so instead of having a table here, they just got a couple stools. They've got some extra pantry space. They put in some pot lights. It's a really nice looking home, and I think the finished basement's done well. The backyard's done well, and they are going to like the result, I think, of this sale. I think they've got a great home in a price range where there's not a lot for sale right now. Now Cedric Terrace is $514.9, more than 2,000 square feet. You got some dark stuff. You got some upgraded countertops. It seems like it's pretty much going rate for this type of home, but it doesn't have a lot of zip to it. So Tonelli is $544. We're talking about a home that's about the same size as the previous one. Now we add in a finished basement, and I find you just add a little bit more style and character and pizzazz. I can't believe I used the word pizzazz there. Sorry, the screen's jumping around. The rounded arches really give a nice impression on this home. And there's your finished basement, bit of work in the backyard. Nice looking house. $544 to me is where you start to hit a point where you start competing with the double car garages. And I know this one has a finished basement, so on and so forth. That's fine, but if you didn't need that finished basement, you could invest in a home with a double car garage and then put in a finished basement down the road when you're ready. So this one compares, I think, to some of the Snowberries and some of the things that have sold recently. But I still think if you're going to go up to $550, go with something like this. Even on Cusick, double car garage, $569, about 2,200 square feet. Got to put in some hardwood, or most people I would expect would want to put in some hardwood. The cabinets don't look like they're those real impressive white ones. They look like they're a little bit lower on the scale of quality. And then you've got a loft upstairs plus 3 bedrooms. We've seen this model sell around the $570 mark, but we've seen just more features. So they're in the game because there's not a lot for sale right now that's very good, but they're not exactly the home that I think people would walk in and absolutely fall in love with. Frobisher is $579. Got an interesting brick tone there. You've got mismatched appliances, older light, all things that are easy and relatively inexpensive to fix. I mean, if someone had a budget of $5,000 in this home, I could see them really doing a lot, even just to paint over the wood paneling, maybe give it a freshened up look. But I also know that this home in the upgraded world is more than $600,000. And so you have an opportunity here to potentially walk in, do some low-cost, high-return improvements, and be left with a home that's worth more. Now this one on Britannia is at $729, and so it looks like it has a nice little bit of outdoor space, some wainscoting in the dining room, some nice finishes architecturally. And what I like about this one from a location perspective is that, so here's the ROPA 38 map. So it's the amendment to the official plan. I believe it's still in process, but here's Trafalgar. So up at Hornby, it actually bends around. And then we've got Britannia. It's east of Britannia on the south side. So you can see this is all planned for residential. And then you've got down at Dundas and Trafalgar, eventually that's going to be a much like Square One with a lot of high rises, a lot of development there. We've got right at Trafalgar, just north of Derry, you're going to see that there's a Metrolink station proposed. So another GO station, basically. Good access up and down on this one. I think it's close enough to Mississauga. And if you drive further down on Britannia, what you're going to see is that you've got these homes there that, you know, are chiropractors' offices or accountants or something like that. And that's what this home is going to be. It's definitely not quiet because Britannia is actually going to be a 6-lane road eventually, as hard as that is to believe. So it's going to abut a busy road. I don't know if maybe it's the best home to live in, but I could see the potential for this one with the addition as commercial use down the road, professional office, and so on. I do like it. I think that the location has a lot of intrinsic value moving forward. Got this one on Cunningham at $997. And we've got a good amount of living space here. You've got about 3,200 square feet. Plus, you've got about 2,500 square feet. It's this partly finished basement, but it looks pretty finished to me. And then you've got a decent-sized property as well, 2 acres. Comparing this to some of the ones down in Campbellville Estates, including the one we showed yesterday, I just think that this one it's a little bit newer. I just think that it has more appeal to it. It's right in Brookville. It's in a great school district. And the $997 to me doesn't seem that far off. We also have this one on Martin. And so this is the real interesting one that I was explaining. 120 feet on the frontage, which is basically a double lot. 1.15. You've got 283 feet deep. You've got the radiator heat. You've got a lot of charm in this one. The kitchen's been upgraded. And look at the land. I mean, it's just insane. And so I look at what some people have paid for $800,000 or $900,000 in the new part to get this kind of property, this kind of house, 8 bedrooms. I don't know what that's about, but I mean, that's pretty cool too. Amazing, interesting home. And if you drive past this one, it's a very special looking home. Potential commercial use on Martin Street. So again, professional offices could be what this one's used for. But with the pool and with some of the other things that are already there, I would say it would make one heck of a house for somebody who can crank their budget up. So the other thing about financing, compare the other one at $997, you could put 5% down on this, whereas once you're over $1 million, you're talking about over 20%. So the financing rules can really change the game. This one, probably the closest comparison, is the one that sold on Thomas right across from the fairgrounds. And in many ways, I almost like this one better than that one. It's got I think a carriage house of some sorts, 1,900 square foot carriage. Awesome. Just definitely go check this one out if you're looking over $1 million in Milton. The other thing is people have choices over $1 million. You can start to get really close to the lake in Oakville with this kind of price point. So there you go. That's the list. If you have any questions, give us a call. You can sign up for a tour there. There's still a couple slots available for this weekend, and then we've got the buyer class next Thursday, and you can register for that over there too. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.